right, brothers and sisters, let's begin. We'll just do a short refuge prayer on page 5 and the four immeasurables. So if you don't mind, I'll lead it. So we have time. There's a number of things that we can talk about tonight. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. Sangye chodang soki chonam la Shangju bardu dagmi kabsuchi Dagi jinsoki pe sonamgi Jola penshir sangye jupasho. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Manam kadam yam pe sem chen tam she dewa dang dewe gurdang dempar jurchi. Dug now dang de now gi gu dang drawa jurchi. Dug now me pe dewa dang mi drawa jurchi. Ne ring jak dang ni dang drawe tang namla ne pa jurchi. Okay. Thank you. So now turn to page 14 in your 101 book, and we're going to recite the Heart Sutra. So last week we were talking about emptiness. So the Heart Sutra is the most condensed version of the Prajnaparamita text, or the Prajnaparamita Sutra, which is an exposition on emptiness. So within this very short prayer, this Heart Sutra, all the fundamental elements of what emptiness means. So by reciting this practice and doing this practice, many times one can open themselves up to experience emptiness. So it's a very profound practice, a simple practice, but the result comes from being committed to doing long recitation with it and allow yourself to have deep meditation with it. So we start on page 14. So I think what would be good, we've got 5 people. So why don't we start this way? Why don't we start with Bonnie? Bonnie, you start on page 14, please. And then Michael, you start on page 15, please. And then William, you do page 16, please. And then I'll do Gary can do page 17. However, on page 16, when it comes time to recite the mantra at the bottom of the page where it says Teata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate. I will recite that and I'll give a little introduction to that. Okay? So, Bhavani, please begin when you're ready. And we can recite it along with her or just listen.
Heart Sutra. Beyond words, beyond description, Prajnaparamita, unborn, unceasing, the very essence of space. Yet it can be experienced as the wisdom of our own awareness. Homage to the mother of the Buddhas of past, present, and future. Bhagavate Prajnaparamita Hridaya, Chamden Dema Sharab Ki Paral Tu Chinpe Ningopao. The Heart Sutra. Homage to the essence of the transcendental knowledge, the Bhagavati. Thus I have heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of the Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a great gathering of monks and bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the Samadhi, which examines the Dharma called profound illumination. And at the same time, noble Avalokitesvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the profound practice of transcendent knowledge, saw the 5 skandhas and their natural emptiness. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to noble Avalokitesvara, Bodhisattva Mahasattva, how should those noble men and women learn who wish to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge? Thus he spoke. And noble Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva answered the Venerable Shariputra with these words. Shariputra, those noble men and women who wish to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge should look at it like this. The 5 skandhas should be seen purely in their natural emptiness.
Form is emptiness. Emptiness itself is form. Emptiness is no other than form. Form is no other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, perception, concept, and consciousness are emptiness. Feeling is emptiness. Emptiness itself is feeling. Emptiness is no other than feeling. Feeling is no other than emptiness. Perception is emptiness. Emptiness itself is perception. Emptiness is no other than perception. Perception is no other than emptiness. Concept is emptiness. Emptiness itself is concept. Emptiness is no other than concept. Concept is no other than emptiness. Consciousness is emptiness. Emptiness is consciousness. Emptiness is no other than consciousness. Consciousness is no other than emptiness. Thus, Shariputra, all dharmas are emptiness and have no characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, Shariputra, since there is emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no perception, no concept, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no dharmas. There is no quality of sight, and so on, until no quality of thought and no quality of mind consciousness. There is no ignorance and no wearing out of ignorance, and so on, until no old age and death, nor their wearing out. In the same way, there is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no ending of suffering, and no path, no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, since there is no attainment for the bodhisattvas, they abide by means of transcendental knowledge. And since there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. They transcend falsity and pass beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the past, present, and future fully and clearly awaken to unsurpassed, true, complete enlightenment by means of transcendental knowledge.
Therefore, the mantra of transcendental knowledge, the mantra of deep insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra which claims all suffering, should be known as truth, for there is no deception. The mantra of transcendental knowledge is proclaimed. Tatran Om Gatte Gatte Para Gatte Parsam Gatte Bodhisoha. Sariputra, this is now a bodhisattva, Maha Sattva, should learn the profound transcendent knowledge. Then the Blessed One rose from that samadhi and praised the noble bodhisattva, Mahasattva Avalokitesvara, saying, well done, noble son. It is so. It is just so. Profound, transcendent knowledge should be practiced just as you have taught, and all of the delegates will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the vulnerable Sariputra and the noble Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokitesvara, that while gathering and world with its gods, men, assurance, and grandeurs, rejoice and praise the words of the Blessed One. Thus ends the Mahana Sutra, called the Bhagavani, essence of transcendent knowledge.
Thank you.
Do you want to go with this?
So the translation of the mantra is, this is it. Theata. This is it. The body, speech, and mind is gone, really gone. Enlightened Buddha field, so be it. So, Theata, this is it. The body, speech, and mind is gone, really gone to the enlightened Buddha field, so be it. Theata, Om, Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Buddhi, Soha. So the word Gate is gone. We're saying gone, Paragate, really gone. Parasamgate is gone to the Buddha field. Buddhi is the Buddha field. So those two words together, Parasamgate Buddhi, means the Buddha field, gone to the Buddha field. Soha, so be it. So this is the meaning of that. So you can write that down. And as we are chanting, when your mind wanders, you can bring it back to not just the sound of the syllables that we're reciting in the Sanskrit, but also this English translation of the meaning of those syllables. So it's liberation, it's letting ourselves go. Gone, gone, paragate. So the Tathagata, so when we look at the word Tathagata on page, let me see. Sorry, I'm looking for it here. Well, I know it's here somewhere. Tathagata. Well, sorry, I'm not finding it now. Does anybody see it? Maybe it's not here. Maybe I imagined it. But the word Tathagata means thus gone one. So that refers to the Buddhas who have been liberated, who have liberated themselves. So that's what Tathagata means. Teata means this is it. So the words look and sound similar, but they're two different meanings. Teata means this is it. Tathagata means the thus gone ones. Okay, so now we recite the mantra. It's a simple chant. It's not doesn't have a melody that I know about. Teata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Buddhi Soha. Does anybody have a melody? Michael, do you have a melody for this? Okay. We do it like this. Teata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Parasamgate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Paragate 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 Parasamgate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate 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 Buddhi Soha. Teyata 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 Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Buddhi Buddhi Soha. Teyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate 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 Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Parasam Gate 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 Buddhi Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Parasam Gate 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 Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Sam Gate Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhi Soha. Deyata Om Gade Gade Para Gade Parasam Gade Buddhiso Deyata Om Gade Gade Para Gade Parasam Gade Buddhiso Deyata Om Gade Gade Para Gade Parasam Gade Buddhiso Deyata Om Gade Gade Parasam Gade Buddhiso Deyata Om Gade Gade Para Gade Parasam Gade Buddhiso Deyata Om Gade Gade Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhiso Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhiso Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhiso Deyata Om Gate Gate Parasam Gate Buddhiso Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Buddhiso Deyata Om Gate Gate Parasam Gade Buddhiso Deyata Om Gade Gade Paragade 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 Parasam Gade Buddhiso Deyata Om Gade Gade Parasam Gade Buddhiso Deyata Om Gade Gade Paragade 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 Parasam Gade So Deyata Om Gade Gade Paragade Parasam Gade Buddhiso 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 Deyata Om Gadi Gadi Paragadi Parazam Gadi 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 Buddhiso Deyata Om Gadi Gadi Paragadi Paragadi Sam Deyata Om Gadi Gadi Paragadi Sam Deyata Om Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Gati Para Sam Gati Bodhiso Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Gati Para Sam Gati Bodhiso Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Gati Para Sam Gati Bodhiso Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Gati Para Sam Gati Bodhiso Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Gati Para Sam Gati Bodhiso Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Gati Para Sam Gati Bodhiso Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Gati Para Sam Gati Bodhiso Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Gati Para Sam Gati Bodhiso Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Gati Para Sam Gati Bodhiso Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Gati Para Sam Gati Bodhiso Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Gati Para Sam Gati Bodhiso Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Gati Para Sam Gati Bodhiso Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Gati Para Sam Gati Bodhiso Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Gati Para Sam Gati Bodhiso Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Gati Para Sam Gati Bodhiso Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Gati Para Sam Gati Bodhiso Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Gati Para Sam Gati Bodhiso Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Gati Para Sam Gati Bodhiso Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Gati Para Sam Gati Bodhiso Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Gati Para Sam Gati Bodhiso Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Gati Para Sam Gati Bodhiso Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Sam Gati Bodhiso So now take a deep breath. Hold it. Exhale. Stay in the meditation position with your back straight. Your hands can be 4 inches below your navel or at your knees, your legs crossed, your chin down, your eyes forward. Eyes can be closed. Tongue on the roof of your mouth, behind your teeth. Just relax. Visualize the emptiness. No elaboration. No dualistic nature. No objectified goals. Just relax. Five-minute meditation. Thoughts come in the mind. Just let them go. Just relax in emptiness. Watch your breath. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Exhale. Open your eyes. Okay. Now we recite the homage on page 17.
Namo, homage to the Lama, homage to the Buddhas, homage to the Dharma, homage to the Sangha, homage to the Great Mother, transcendent knowledge. May all my words be accomplished. Just as formerly, Indra, Lord of the Gods, contemplating the profound meaning of transcendent, of transcendent knowledge, recited these words, and by that turned back all evil and other disagreeable elements. May I too, by contemplating the profound meaning of transcendent knowledge and reciting the words, make all evil and other disagreeable elements turn back. May they be destroyed.
May they
May
be,
they be calmed.
may
May
they
they
be,
be totally calmed. Whatever is interdependent arising from connection is without cessation and without birth, without end and without permanence, without coming and without going, without division and without unity of meaning. All conditions fully released, teaching release. I bow to the sacred words of the perfect Buddha. May there be good fortune.
very good. Thank you very much. So I think that's quite a practice. What do you think about that, Gary?
It's it requires and stimulates a lot of focus and concentration. It narrows and concentrates the mind from where I sit. You'll have to excuse me, my allergies are creating an obscuration tonight. I'm having trouble reading clearly, but I like the practice.
Okay, thank you. Michael, what do you think of that practice? Have you done that practice before?
Many times. Yeah.
What
Yeah,
do you, what's your experience with the practice?
I love it. It's sort of, you know, compared to like a full-blown sutra, it's like a short story. It's like it's like a parable. It's pretty condensed. It's very, very powerful. Just, it's, you know, every phrase is just sort of turning reality inside out, and it's never, I've never hesitated to hear it ring with deep truth. Yeah, I've sort of studied it in the past. There's an author named Red Pine. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
He wrote a full book on the Heart Sutra. It's pretty fascinating. And the many authors, translator authors from the 1800s actually question why it appears that the mantra itself sort of floats on top of the rest of the sutra. It almost doesn't have a place there, so it's almost like a soundtrack. But most people find that to be mysteriously fun and appropriate to have a mantra that can actually rise a little bit above such profound teaching
Mhm.
and be so celebratory. So I love chanting it also. There are some melodies. There's a melody from a Kenpo somewhere, and then the Plum Village folks have a melody as well. But you pretty much fell into it when you were chanting. You know, it's sort of that Om Gate Om Gate Para Sam Gate Borisoha, and there's usually a wooden block in the background banging on it.
All right, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can do this practice with, you know, if you do 2 mile rounds of chanting, you could do the whole practice in 20 minutes. And it's really, it's intense. I love it.
Okay, thank you. Bhavani, how about you?
It is one of my favorites. The Vietnamese temple, the Pure Land temple that we go to down here in Virginia Beach, we chanted every Wednesday night with the bell and a gourd. And we actually worked with the monks for about 6 months to set up an English-speaking service because everything was in Vietnamese. And they taught us how to do the bell and the gourd with it. And the Sangha group that we go to in Florida, William and I actually have a bell and a gourd, and we lead the group, and we do the red pine version of it. The Padmasambhava temple that we go to in West Palm, I think it's like every Tuesday, they do the Heart Sutra down there. So it's something we've been doing for like about a dozen years. It's wonderful.
Okay.
And it takes a long time, in my opinion, to really get it. And the more you do it, the more you read it and think about it, the more you get an understanding of it. And the teachings that you did last week about emptiness brought even more meaning of it too. So it's probably a lifelong learning.
Thank you. William, what do you think?
Well, I just rang the bell. That's my job. Ding-a-ling. And I think when we do it, I get into a higher state, kind of a transcendent state. And it's like almost like doing drugs. The euphoria that comes from there is just kind of like reminds me of kids when they go into the candy store and they got plenty of money to spend. You know, like a quarter. Well, when I was a kid, we used to go to the candy store on the corner of the school, between the school and the church. And I used to have either a nickel or something like that, and it would be just the greatest thing in the world. And this is something that went with the chanting and working with the bell and the gourd brings.
Let me ask this. This might be a obvious question, but what's the difference between reading about emptiness and doing this practice.
Excuse me, reading about,
Yeah. You know, like
Emptiness.
last week, we explored and we kind of defined and went through all these similes and so on like that. And tonight, we went through and we did this emptiness practice. So,
well, last week we were just, it was kind of like being in school where the teacher was giving you all this information and loading you up on it. And this week here, you're involved and you're,
Mhm.
so you have an opportunity for transcendence, for an opportunity for recognizing emptiness.
sure.
Yes, Michael.
I think much like in the Jewel Ornament and other works that use lists and similes, this is of course also a book of lists. But for me, when I work with this is an opportunity to sort of erase things off the list, you know, in my head. It's like, well, there's not that, so there's not this, and then not that is not this, and it just sort of, you know, it just sort of takes entire concepts and conceptual stuff itself and just kind of pops it, and it's gone. And so the process really can put somebody in close touch with emptiness, which I imagine is what.
So is there a mental image of erasing? What do you have a mental image that you're going through?
No, I don't. I don't think in real images. That's just me trying to put in an image what I might experience. Yeah. I can describe my experience in imagery more than I can describe it in words, but it's not imagery when it's happening.
Does anybody else have an image or going, you know, using an image to get, you know, to try and, you know, focus the mind on emptiness? Bonnie, no? Gary, did you find anything like that? Did you, Gary, did you find anything?
Well, I'm not sure what you mean by emptiness, but when I was doing the mantra and I became focused on it, there were no other thoughts. It took a while. It wasn't that way at first. But as you continued on through, I guess, mallow-round after mallow-round, I became focused on it. And even though there were intervening sounds from outside, I did not seem to be distracted by them. I got into a zone, as it were. I'm not good at that yet. And it's an unusual experience for me to be able to concentrate for sustained periods of time and to suddenly be nowhere else but in the midst of the consciousness or in the mantra. So it was good practice for me in that way, if that's responsive to what you're asking.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, you know, call to everyone's mind what their mindfulness of what they were doing, what they were experiencing and so on. And it changes over time, you know, each time you do it, it may be slightly different. Sometimes it may be real strong, sometimes very weak, but it's to be mindful of that, to be aware of that. And this is true for all the different practices that we do, all the meditations, all the chanting that we do. The idea is that all these things are supposed to allow us to transcend our ordinariness, into a state of awareness, or a state of consciousness, if you will, or a state of being that is, beyond our ordinary state of being.
I think that the more, this may sound a little bit trite, but the kind of day you had can affect your ability to focus. The more you can separate from the events of the day or anything that has intervened, and the more you've been able to practice otherwise and meditate otherwise. If you've been able to meditate sometimes during the day or a great deal during the day, then this particular practice at night, you come into it, in a frame of mind which allows you to focus and leave out the obscurations of life that have been besetting you. And sometimes it depends just on circumstances, as much as we would like to dismiss them, from our existence. They're very real sometimes. That makes it more difficult, and you have to focus more.
All right, well, very good. Does anybody else have anything else that they want to say? All right, well, I think we're going to, yes, Mike.
This is the Red Pine book that I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he pretty much does a line by line and wraps it in some pretty serious discussion around the context, and it's about 20% of it is names, terms, and texts. So it's it's an all around great Heart Sutra book by Red Pine. Translation, and he does the translation and the commentary.
Very good.
Lance, I just wanted to add that when we do the tapping of the gourd with the recitation of the Heart Sutra, the gourd is tapped for every syllable of the word, and it's supposed to be representative of our actual heartbeat.
Ah,
And that's a real nice connection with it, too.
well,
The more
that's really good.
you do it, the deeper you get into it.
Uh-huh.
And I think the Thich Nhat Hanh book is called the Heart Attack Sutra.
The heart attack?
Attack Sutra, yeah. We have it down in Florida. I don't have it here to verify it, but I think that's what I remember.
The thing was, when this sutra came out, it split the Sangha in two separate groups. One that understood it and was one that understood it and could work with it, and the other group was just totally appalled at it, and they left. Some people died and had heart attacks, supposedly.
Yeah.
I heard this sutra. So
Yeah, it was apparently it was so radical, it freaked a number of them out. Yeah.
All right.
but if you follow this sutra. It has everything in it. And all of the teaching in this one little teaching.
Well, this is called a Prajna Paramita text, a Prajna Paramita Sutra. And Prajna Paramita means the perfection of wisdom.
Well, it even goes beyond that, I think. You know, it's really, we've been doing this for, how many years have we been doing this?
Dozen,
7?
dozen,
7?
12.
Well, okay. We've been doing it 12 years. And it just, you know, it's something that I get into and I just turn into mush, more or less.
I always, there's a couple practices that I do when I get stuck. I'm on a plateau or something, and I need something to help me break through. And this is one of those practices that always helps me to break through.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, very good. Well, then let's end this a little bit early tonight. So we'll do our dedication prayers on page 20 and 21 and 22. So let's see. Bhavani and William, why don't you read page 20? And then Gary, you read page 21. And Michael, if you'll read page 22, please.
The virtues collected in the 3 times by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana.
And by
May I,
the innate root of virtue, may I and all sentient beings
quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect,
complete, and precious enlightenment.
enlightenment.
May the teachings of
May
the
the
great
teachings of the great
Drinkupa Ratnashri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through the study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara.
Glorious, holy, venerable, precious, kind root and lineage lamas, divine assembly of Yidams and assemblies of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Yogins, Yoginis, and Dakinis dwelling in the 10 directions. Please hear my prayer. May the virtues collected in the 3 times by myself and all sentient beings in samsara and nirvana and the innate root of virtue not result in the 8 worldly concerns, the 4 causes of samsara, or rebirth as a Shravaka or Pratyeka Buddha. May all mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me and mine, obstructors who harm, misleading Mars and the hordes of demons, experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious Buddhahood. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May attachment to fame, reputation, wealth, honor, and concern for this life not arise even for a moment.
May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta. And through that, may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. May the torment of suffering not arise even at the time of my death. May I not die with negative thoughts. May I not die confused by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind as such and the pervading clarity of Dharmata. May I, in any case, gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the bardo. Om, ah, hom. Om, ah, hom. May my body, speech, and mind become inseparable from the body, speech, and mind of all the enlightenments.
Very good. Thank you all very much. Thank you.